Hello, my Teaserking family. Oh, good. The mic's working. I don't have to redo it 12 times. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Let's have a great day. Free pick Kansas City under on Sunday with Ohio State. I'm thinking about the Ohio State under also. I just don't see that game getting very high scoring. I mean, Maryland was 31-24 with Michigan, but they don't really have a good defense. Penn State's probably more the type of game you're going to get. You're probably going to get a game in the low 20s, high teens. I did this about 7 or 8 years ago when both teams were really strong defensively, and I locked it under, and I have it won, and it goes to overtime, and there goes my under because they scored 3 touchdowns in overtime after not getting 15 points in the game. But I think I'm okay with that. And then you get torn with the Washington game last week, where could have just played Washington in 8, and I played it over and didn't go over. And I didn't know it was a rainstorm the whole game. And I don't want to do the same mistake twice. And that's the problem with betting. You lose with, New Mexico State, and you miss all the good bets. I read something that Alabama won't kill Auburn, and I'm thinking New Mexico State just killed Auburn. What are you talking about? Real quickly before we get into this, I want to talk about this gold thing I saw on Google, and it says, "Is it a good time to buy gold? Buy money." Now, this is the problem, Attack on Wall Street guy, that we have. Is it a good time to buy money? And they sit there and go, well, it's a safe haven asset. Maybe you should buy a gold IRA. No fucking way you should buy a gold IRA. You don't want gold stock. You want the gold coin, but they don't understand that. Is it a good time to buy? Well, investing in gold would achieve that. It's safety. It's that. When to invest in gold? If you think about adding gold to your investment, there's no shortage of ways to gain exposure. Bullshit. There's only one way: physical, not paper. Whether that means investing in a precious metal by buying gold bars, opening a gold IRA, or owning a gold mining stock, ETFs, you should contemplate the following criteria. So this is already terrible information written by a Keynesian who, what are we mentioning? ETFs and gold stocks and paper gold, not physical. Happy Thanksgiving, Alex. I hope you're well. You're in Vegas, or you're going there tomorrow? My plans for today, I'm just gonna, after class, I'll just watch football. The pool closes at 1:30, so normally I do that and then swim, but I really wouldn't have much time, so I'm just gonna forget it for today. I was gonna make a turkey, but it's just me. All the girls are in Europe, so it's there's no point in making a 10-pound turkey. I don't want to spend 4 hours cooking it, and I don't want to then eat it for the next 4 days. So I got a roast, and I got some ribs. I got a pumpkin pie and salad, and I'm going to enjoy the day that way, watching the football. And still, I got to study for tomorrow's games to do that. You love the Niners. I think the Niners have to win because they're only a game up on Seattle. If they lose, Seattle gets the tiebreaker. So I think when a team like the Niners loses 3 in a row and then they start rolling, I think that they keep it going. And there's some injuries on Seattle. The quarterback, Smith, is injured, and Walker's injured. They'll probably play, but they're injured, and it's Thursday, so they haven't had time to heal. The over in the Cowboys game, I get a little scared because of Micah Parsons and how They only scored 7 points on the Giants last week. What was it? 7? I mean, they lost to the Giants 31-19. You only got 19 on the Giants. And the reason that game went high because he threw 3 picks. So I don't know they're going to score much on Dallas. I know Dak will give us his 2 interceptions, but I think I don't know. I bet it at 10.5. Now it's up to 12.5, or we'll see. I'm not really sure. I canceled Vegas. Too busy with work at home. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to Europe probably twice in December. So I'm going to meet Jenna one week and Daria the next week. So I'd like to just stay there and then go from Greece to Turkey, but I don't know if I don't know the time. We're waiting on Daria's passport. So the plays for today. So, yeah, I mean, what I got, I think I like Detroit because of Love, and Aaron Jones is out. But I think with Jones being out, I think Detroit at home, I guess it's another bad team, so I kind of like them and the over in the game. But I'm leaning more towards Detroit because it's just 7.5. Although the way they looked against the Bears, I think they're coming to earth and people are realizing it. I took Dallas at 10, but I see it's up to 12 now. If it gets over 7, that'd be a hard time playing it. And I do like the over. And then, yeah, I do like the Niners. And I didn't play Old Mississippi State. Although Will Rogers is back, that should be an over game. But we'll see. I think I'm leaving that alone for the pros. Too bad you're so far away. I'd invite you over for dinner. Well, thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. We'll do that once. Easy travel. Well, I see. Yeah, I see. The over and the under depends on where the turnovers happen and the stupid 4th down crap. If they're at the Dallas 10 and turn it over, it's an under. If they're at their 10 and turn it over, it's an over. So, yeah, I see the turnovers. I think Dallas blows them out. I'd rather play Dallas than the over in the game if it's under a touchdown. Dallas has to win. They're 2.5 behind Philly. They thought they were going to gain ground, and Philly wins at KC. And then that's why I like it. Give me a dog like Philly all day. And then you've got the so Dallas needs it. Washington, they just lost to fucking Danny DeVito. I mean, what are you gonna do? Yeah, Dallas. Well, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah, it's a 48. You tease it to 42. I think it's okay. But as you're saying, Dallas should. I see Dallas that they could shut them out, and then it's going to hurt your over. That's what my concern is. And yeah, I don't know if they get 38, but they've been piling on the points. I saw a stat that said the favorites on Thanksgiving Day were 75%. Oh my God, I don't want to hear that. That's who knows. Traditionally, well, I mean, I would think the home teams are usually favorite, and they don't have to travel. So, yeah, Detroit and Dallas. Well, Detroit never plays well on Thanksgiving anyway, but Dallas normally does since Staubach. And then this third game, Frisco and Seattle, I just think Frisco's – I don't care if it's on Thanksgiving or not. I think you've got the best team in the league there, even against Seattle, who struggled against Cleveland and struggled against a few – I think Washington at home. They're not a good home team. Traditionally, Washington gives Dallas problems on Thanksgiving Day. Not sure if that trend will apply today. That's the problem with trends. This is what I've been trying to explain. The trends are all fucked up because of all the new coaches and all the new quarterbacks. How do you apply a trend with Thurston Howell III? This is his first year. How do you apply a trend with Vince Young at Carolina and Richardson and Stroud? And how do you apply a trend with Stroud? What do you have? The Ohio State trend? All I know is they lost to Michigan twice in a row. So that's the problem with that. Absolutely love the KC under with Oakland. That they'll win 17-0. And in Ohio State, I'm debating under or Ohio State. I don't want to get burned like I got burned in the Washington game, where an easy take the dog in Washington turns into go over, because I'm a little scared of Oregon State. And then here, I think Ohio State wins the game. I also think the under is a very strong bet in that game, so I'll probably play the under in a different teaser. I don't like to play the team in the under in the same teaser. So Ohio State 9.5, that seems like gold. Under 53, I can't imagine the game going over unless it hits the overtime. Like 5-6 years ago, I locked the under in the game when Urban Meyer was the coach, and that was the day that whether it was a JT Barrett, his knee hits the ground and they call it a first down, and they score a touchdown in overtime, and then Michigan scored a touchdown, and there goes my under. So yeah, that happened before, but I don't think, even at that point, I lost the under. I said, fuck, why didn't I just play the underdog? Michigan was the dog. They won. So it's frustrating when you play that. I think in this type of game, I can take the points, and I don't see them losing 3 in a row, and I'm basing it on the Notre Dame game. They handled Hartman and Notre Dame with a great running back and a great defense, and they played it. And that I think you're going to get that 19-15, 19-14 game in this situation. But I think Ohio State wins. I can't believe, like, if Oregon gets screwed in the playoff, Oregon, the two best teams are Georgia and Oregon right now. And I saw that Travis. Did you see the Travis injury? Oh, my God. He got a Mackenzie Milton, the guy from UCF, my favorite quarterback, where he just, his knee turned sideways. The guy's foot was like that. I mean, it was like that. I mean, it was just ridiculous. Questionable. The guy's out he'll never play again. His foot was, literally, and instead of like this was like that. I mean, oh my God. And what did he do? He didn't slide. Another point of a running quarterback who doesn't realize his value. You can lose a running back. You can't lose your star quarterback. He's got to slide. What the fuck is he doing? Now, I don't know if he got it caught in the turf or what, but how do you not slide in that situation? He runs, he breaks his ankle, he's done. He'll never play pro ball. He'll be lucky to walk again. His fucking foot was there was another guy. I mean, it was a Joe Theismann hit where the knee was this way and the foot was that way. That's how bad Travis got hurt. He'll never play again. And why didn't he slide? Against Northern Alabama. And then all the people will cry, well, that's why you don't play him in Northern Alabama. That's why we don't play in preseason. No, just fucking slide and you'd be fine. Washington 5-1 against the spread on the road this year. Okay. Jordan Travis injury was gruesome. To lose to Louisville. They got to play. They got to play Florida this week, and Florida's quarterback broke his collarbone. So you've got a broken collarbone on Florida and a broken foot on Florida State. So you got two backup quarterbacks. I'm thinking under, because they're just going to run the ball, but unless they have Bill Theismann as their thing. The under in the Florida State Louisville game will be the under in the Florida game will be good. Graham Mertz breaks his collarbone, and he wasn't looking too bad. I was watching the Missouri game yesterday, and I was shocked they played him that well. But Missouri's been playing really good. Washington 5-1 against the spread on the road this year. Okay. I mean, it's a lot of points, but the problem is the matchup. How does Dallas match up with them? And then let me just finish this money, and we'll talk football. So this money article says invest in gold or gold ETFs. No, you don't ever put in gold ETFs. You don't own gold. During times of higher inflation, gold is a popular investment when inflation is high. That's because the precious metal is seen as a relative price stable, safe haven asset when the cost of consumer goods. See, they don't even understand what inflation is. It's not the cost of consumer goods rising, and purchasing power subsequently falls. But they don't say because the money is inflated and printed to zero. They'll say purchasing power, but they won't say it's because the money's is zero. Since hitting its all-time high in 2020, the price of gold challenged the mark twice. Paper gold, they don't say, during which time inflation was at 41-year near high. Similarly, demand for the precious metal during these periods evidence that inflation is a key driver of gold prices. That's incorrect. Paper gold. Oops, he doesn't say paper gold. He doesn't say physical gold. So against in the paper market, it doesn't matter. It's not a real price anyway. That's the key that I'm trying to drive home here. Inflation is not a key driver for gold. It's gold if you would let it be if you let it go to the same thing you do with this card. If you let the Mahomes card is at free market, this might be $10,000. It's not being price fixed at $100. Oh, look, you don't want to buy Mahomes 50 count. They're only worth $100. That's what they're doing with the paper gold. Oh, there's something worth that. You don't want to buy that. It's about competing with the dollar. And if you ran a printing press, you wouldn't want a competition with the dollar either. That's what it's all about. Man, I hope I can email these idiots. Then it's bullshit. During times of economic uncertainty. So they're trying to paint gold as it's only good when there's inflation. And they're talking paper gold. If you would allow the gold to go to physical, it would be 30, 40,000 an ounce right now. So don't give me that bullshit. When you want to diversify your portfolio, gold, like other precious metals commodity in general, also serves as great. Who the fuck wants to diversify your portfolio? My diversification is I got American Eagles and I got Cougar Rams and Maple Leafs. That's my diversification. When you're looking for a safe investment, oh, it's a safe investment. You mean because there's zero risk because they can't print it? Worried about protecting your hard-earned financial assets. Gold's IRA. This is such bullshit. God, please give me an email. Categories. Contact. I'm going to contact them later on. Tell them they're full of shit. This is the problem with it. All right, let's look at NFL starting lineups for today's games. We got Jordan Love. We got A.J. Dillon questionable, and Jones is out. We got Goff, Montgomery, St. Brown. So Detroit's healthy. Green Bay's missing one running back. Washington, Sam Howell, Brooks Robinson, McLaurin, Dustin Samuel against Prescott, Pollard, C-Lamb is playing. The Niners, Purdy, McCaffrey, Debo Samuels, Kittle's all fine. Geno Smith's questionable, and Kenneth Walker is out. Metcalf's okay, and Lockett's okay. Smith the Gema, he reminds me of the guy in the Lions, Williams, who sucks. Geno Smith, okay, he's going to play. It's questionable. All right, Kenneth Walker doesn't play. Charbonnet's fine. Or if they get McIntosh, the kid from Georgia, he's better than both of them. So that's what you have today. And then we'll look at tomorrow's Tagliavua, Mostert, and Tyreek Hill are questionable against Tim Boyle. God. Okay, he played on the Lions and he sucked. What do you think, that he ate the magic beans from Jack and the Beanstalk and he's going to turn into Joe Montana? I mean, he was nothing in college, Eastern Kentucky, not Western Kentucky that we know, Eastern Kentucky. See, that tells me the guy's not very good. He couldn't even make it he couldn't even transfer to Kentucky. And he'll be like Tony Romo, who sucked. I can't listen to Tony Romo. I can't listen to any of these announcers. Troy Aikman, I want to throw up. They're all idiots. So Boyle with Hall. This is a beautiful under. If Tyreek Hill is out, this game's going to end 3-0. All right, let's go to the line. All right, so we got the Lions up to 8.5 and 47.5. This is why I bet early, right? I only have to lay 7.5. 8.5 and up to 47.5 from 46.5. That's because Aaron Jones is out. We got, wow, you can't bet Dallas now. It's 13.5. Again, this is why I bet early, 47.5. So the over went down 48.5 to 47. And the Niners are 43.5. So you can't play Dallas at 7.5. It's ridiculous. You have to go over in the game or take Washington at 19.5. Good luck betting on Thurston Howell the third. So this is why I bet early. I know where the line's going. I thought Detroit was a 7-point favorite, 7.5. Lay the 1.5. There you go. 2.5. You're still under a field goal. Although you almost got fucked last week when had they not hit the 2-point conversion on the Dave Casper Oakland Raider play. See, there's obviously people listening to me because when I like these higher level people, because I'll say something like Michigan sucks. They haven't beaten anybody, but the best team was Rutgers. And I hear it on the radio word for word. I'm like, what the fuck? And here, what do I say? Why aren't they using the Dave Casper play? And now Detroit uses the Dave Casper play. What the fuck? What do I got to run all these teams? So Detroit, Green Bay, love sucks. We all know that. We know love sucks. And then we got Aaron Jones out. So love, give him credit for beating San Diego. Again, San Diego decided to go for it on fourth down and not make it. What puzzles me is the plays they call on fourth down. Oh, he ran up the middle for no gain. Well, they're waiting for you. You're not going to run up the middle on 4th and 1. Or they throw this little wide receiver screen and it loses 2 yards. I love reading that. Oh, pass completed to Joe Blow, the wide receiver. He lost for a negative 2 yards. How do you throw a pass for negative yards? What are you, insane? Is this like high school? Are these coordinators like 5th graders? What are they? A bunch of idiots. And what kills me is you'll see all these plays on fake punts that are really good design. Like maybe use that on 4th down or on go for 2, where you line up and one guy hikes it to this and the guy comes around and they hand it over here. The old Florida State fake punt plays, which are beautiful. So why don't they run that on 4th and 1 instead of handing the ball, running up the middle, and the defense is waiting for you? The quarterbacks aren't smart enough to call audibles. It's a fucking nightmare. So we got Dallas 13.5. So let's break that game down. Dallas 13.5, 47.5. Dallas is an A team with an 18 defense. This is not a team you want to play over with. Washington is a W team. They scored 20 points, give up 28, gave up 31 to Danny DeVito last week on 3 picks. Dallas must win the game because they're now 2.5 back of Philly and thinking, oh, well, they'll lose at Kansas City and they got Buffalo. Well, they beat Kansas City and they're going to beat Buffalo and you're still going to be 2.5 back. So I don't see them. I think they'll do what they do. CeeDee Lamb's playing. I hear what you're saying, Alex, that Washington plays them hard on Thanksgiving, but when's the last time they played them on Thanksgiving? 5 years ago? because could that trend still hold? Washington. All right, let's look at Washington on the road. You're telling me they're 5-1 on the road. Is that as road dogs or road favorites? Well, let's see. Washington at Denver. Okay, 35-33. That would never happen if they played Denver now, but they were a road dog. Okay, to a weak defense at the time. At Philly, getting 9, they lose 34-31. Okay. At Atlanta, getting 1.5, they beat Atlanta. So they beaten Denver when they were bad. Atlanta, who stinks. At the Giants, they lose 14-7. Explain that one. At New England, big deal. New England's not even a pro team. At Seattle, okay. Again, not a very strong team. And that's it. So your victories have been at a weak Denver team when they were giving up 70 points. Not now. That was week 2. At Philly, we'll give them full credit for 34-31. Oops! At home to Chicago, they lost 40-20. We're going to ignore that. Apparently. At Atlanta, they're not a strong. They won the game, but they're not. Again, Atlanta's not strong. This is the problem with the league. The only team they played that's any good. All right, they played Buffalo. They lost 37-3. Oops, we forgot that one because it was at Washington. At home against the Bears, they lost 40-20. But we're looking at them as a road team. Oh, okay. And so they played Philly, lost 34-31, 38-31. Both high scoring, which is why you're saying high scoring. The difference is Philly's defense is a 22 and not been good all year, not like last year. It's not like my Georgia defense that I expected with 6 fucking Georgia Bulldogs on it. All right, Philly 38-31. Again, they're not – they only scored 20 on New England. 19 on the Giants. The other Giant game, they got 7. So which team shows up? The one that lost at New York 14-7 or the one that lost at Philly 38-31? Or the one that beat New England with 20 points? Well, I guarantee you, if we look at the defenses, who did they play that's comparable to this Dallas team? So Dallas is an 18. They didn't play the Niners. They didn't play the Jets. They didn't play New Orleans. They didn't play Pittsburgh. They didn't play Tampa. They didn't play Jacksonville or Houston. They didn't play Cleveland. They didn't play KC or Oakland. Buffalo is a 17, and they lost 37-3. They didn't play Baltimore. So when looking at this junk they played, Atlanta has a 22 defense, okay, but we know it's not that strong. Chicago is a 28 defense. Phillies is a 22. So the only comparable defense they played was Buffalo, and they scored 3 points. Philly's not comparable to Dallas. Denver now is, but you can't look at week 2. Seattle is they're a 22 defense. So, there's a big difference between a 22 and an 18 defense. So they're going to have trouble scoring on Dallas. That's what I'm saying. So it's not a clear-cut over. The problem is you've waited too long. You now got to lay 7.5, which is poison. You don't want to do that because Dallas can easily win by 7. So it's a tough one there. Frisco, well, let's jump back. All right. San Francisco 743.5. That hasn't moved. So Frisco is the play over Seattle after the 3 losses. They're now focused and healthy. I think the Detroit Frisco teaser's fine. The Dallas, if you got it in, I got it in at 10.5. I'm laying 4.5. I'm a little worried now because we know how Vegas works. The line went up from 10 to 13. That means Washington's going to win the game probably. But we will. Hopefully, it's not that corrupt. But I can see them winning by 7. It's a hard teaser, Dallas. I would I don't know if I'd play it. I don't know if I'd play Washington in 19.5. Maybe they show up a little. The key to the game and that I'm seeing is Washington's got a 28 defense. So Dallas should put up a lot of points against the 28 defense. Washington won't score much against the 18 defense. Hence 34-3 Dallas or somewhere in that neighborhood. Let's put in the scores. Detroit 27-20 over Green Bay. Dallas 34-3. And the Niners, a nice 27-17 win over that. And Miami and the Jets, 13-6 Miami. Miami won't score on the Jets very much, but Boyle sucks. I'd much rather steer you to the under in the Jet game than have you fuck around with Dallas. And I know it's Thanksgiving and you want to have bets on all the games. And if you're going to have a bet on it, you can bet. I would bet very, very light on Dallas. This is why you change your amounts, right? Yeah, stronger on the Detroit or the Miami under or even Niners, but very small. So I would probably go, you know what, I'm going to play Seattle with the KC under, and I might play Detroit with Ohio State. And Dallas, maybe I play them with Washington or Texas or something like that, small, one of your smaller plays. That's why you vary it. So when I lose a game, if it's a small one, I probably I wouldn't play Dallas now, but I got them in at 10.5. So that's the key. So Detroit 27-20. I feel very comfortable with that. Dallas, I think 34-3, but it could be anything. But I do think they'll dominate. It's just the point spread. It's a tough point spread. And then the Niners, I got 27-17. Seattle will score a little, but Smith is injured, and so is Walker, and they need them. And believe me, there's going to be pressure on the quarterback. So Smith's looking for injury. Oh yeah, my hamstring. I better not play. And then the Miami Jet game. If Tyreek Hill doesn't play, and he's doubtful, or at least he's questionable, we'll see tomorrow. Hard to play Miami anyway against the Jets, but without him, there's not going to be any scoring. Tonight we got Ole Miss and Old Mississippi State. Ole Miss 10.5, 55.5. Dart is questionable, an Ole Miss quarterback, so we got to see what's going on. Rivalry game. Now they have Spencer Sanders as their backup, the kid from Oklahoma State. He leaves Oklahoma State and he doesn't start at Ole Miss. Big mistake he makes. So he sits on the bench. Nobody's going to draft him. He was okay, but I think he's got an attitude problem. Last year, he didn't play in a few games at the end when he should have. And then he transfers because he probably has a problem with the coach. So he goes, of all the places, you couldn't go to, San Jose State or Nevada. I mean, go where you're going to play. He goes to Ole Miss, doesn't play, plays very little there. Big mistake. But they do have him for this game. So Ole Miss is not dead without Dart. Dart's been running the ball. Very good quarterback. And Will Rogers is back for Old Mississippi State, and that's what they've been missing. And they put up 40 points last week on some Southern Miss, I think. So that's what you got. We'll go through tomorrow's games. Why don't we run through them now real quickly? We got Miami 9.5, 40. I was looking at this last night, so I'm going to use last night's lines. Miami 9.5, 48 against BC. Miami, the B team, and BC, I got them as I got E and W, so let's call them an E team. We got Ohio, Akron. Ohio minus 13.5, 41. Akron's a Z team. Miami is Ohio is an under team. They got a 15 defense, and Akron's got a 28. over under 41 as you would expect. I am going to see a shutout here for Ohio, probably an under. Toledo Central, Toledo the A team, Central's a W, Toledo minus 954, a 20 defense, and a very strong offense. I think they'll blow out Central Michigan tomorrow. Iowa, Nebraska. I don't know. Nebraska's 2.5, 26.5. Why do they even have an over under? I mean, why don't they just make it like 10 points and you'd still get under action, right? Iowa doesn't even get, I'm looking at the stats. They don't even get 300 yards a game. They're 2-something. And Nebraska's not much better. They've got Purdy's brother now as their quarterback. He's pretty good. He's questionable. The only thing you can do is tease it under 32.5, or maybe you take Iowa and 8.5. I don't see Nebraska beating anybody. TCU, Oklahoma. Now, we got to be careful here. Gabriel got hurt last week. He's questionable for the game. I would bet anybody $1,000 to a penny he's playing because they have to win the game to make the playoff or to even win the conference. So Oklahoma at 9.5, 63.5, down from 10.5. Don't pass on TCU. We know they got a great offensive-minded coach, and they are starting to score. Their quarterback got hurt, so he's been out. He got hurt last year. I don't know. This Chad Morris guy might be good, but he can't stay healthy. So I don't if Gabriel is playing, I really like the over in the game. If he's not playing, I really like TCU in 15.5. Oklahoma must win, but we saw last week they barely beat BYU. BYU sucks. Memphis, 11.5, 64 against Temple. They're the over team. 30 defense. Temple with the 35 defense. I think Memphis wins by 30 points. Utah State, New Mexico. Both overs. Here's our over game. 33 defense, 34 defense. Utah State, 6.5, 60. Question on Legis, the Utah State quarterback's questionable. We need him to go over. Just what we want, a 60. So it's a low over for over teams, right? And Utah State, they've been playing over games, although New Mexico struggles a little bit. But we need the Utah State quarterback. Again, because that's really the key to the overs. UTSA, Tulane, excellent game. A versus A, 24 defense, UTSA, Frank Harris. Tulane with their quarterback and a 19 defense. I think it's Britt or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's a good quarterback. 51.5 is the over-under. I think SA is a live dog with Frank Harris. They've been scoring 45 points a game since he's come back. Tulane has been struggling. They have not been putting up big numbers for some reason. Probably injuries to the all line, maybe a running back injury, something. It's always injuries, right? But Tulane is not clicking. UTSA, this is for conference championship, I think, with SMU right there. I don't know if UTSA can get there, but it's a big game. I think they're a live dog there. Missouri, 8.5, 54.5 to Arkansas. Arkansas does not look right. They got some running backs out. We love Jefferson, but maybe they changed offensive coordinators. I don't know. They're not like they were last year. And then they played Florida 34-33 game or something, or LSU. And then some of these games, they don't show up. So I don't know what's going on with them. Missouri looks excellent. They played great. I was surprised the Florida game was as close as it was. 8.5. You get it under 3, I think you go with Missouri. Again, 54.5. Probably be an over game, but I don't know what Arkansas is doing. So if we think Arkansas is going to score, it's an over game. If we don't think they're going to score, it's a Missouri game. Air Force and Boise, both quarterbacks are out. Boise's got a pretty good backup. Boise's got a really good running back. However, you're facing Air Force's defense, and I don't see the running back doing shit against the Air Force defense. Air Force doesn't need the quarterback per se because they don't throw the ball. However, obviously, Lerner, their quarterback, is a good runner or a good option guy, probably better than the other. So that's really the key Army, Navy, Air Force is not the quarterback throwing, it's the quarterback running the option play. So we have both quarterbacks out. We got Boise 6.5. Boise's been on fire lately. Air Force lost to Hawaii and lost to Vegas, and Vegas is the best team in the league there. So Air Force with the 17 defense, Boise with 26, but Vegas showed you can actually score on them. I like Air Force as the dog here, 46.5, probably an under with the quarterbacks being out and the tough defense by Air Force. I don't think Boise's going to go over in the game like they do against, and again, you got to look at who they're going over against if they're weak defenses. So you always got to see when the score is over. And I was doing a lot of this with Oregon State, Washington State. I'm looking at, the game I've been looking at was UCLA and Cal. And I'm looking at Cal against Utah and they're playing UCLA and Oregon and the teams with the really good defenses to see what Cal does. They don't show up against Utah and they don't show up much against Oregon. They did show up against Oregon State. UCLA, they did, against USC, it was 36-20. So I'm trying to solve the riddle, which is what's going to happen in the game. Are we going to get high scoring from Cal and then it's an over, or are they going to shut Cal down and it's an under? Had Cal last week against Stanford. They look good, but against Stanford's defense. So that's really the question you're trying to figure out is what do they look at against the teams? So that's where we're at there. So that's what I'm trying to figure. So again, here, how's Boise doing against strong defenses? That's really the key. So that's why you're trying to match up. I heard one radio guy, and he doesn't get it. Like, well, I think what he was talking about is if Team A beats Team B and then Team B beat Team C, then Team A should beat Team C. I'm looking at it from a different angle. I'm saying, how does Cal play against Utah and Oregon, teams with really strong defenses, because they got to play UCLA's strong defense? That's you're supposed to do, at least in my world. Texas Tech, Texas 12.5, 53.5, must win. Texas is an 18 defense, and Texas Tech is a 24 defense, and they've got a really good running back, Texas Tech. So they've been running the ball. They're not the run and shoot Mike Leach offense that you think of Texas Tech. Much more of a running attack, pretty decent defense. Texas with the strong defense. This is probably an under, or Texas must win the game to get to the playoff. They got to win the Southwest Conference. I'll call it to keep it easier. They got to win the Southwest, and then they'll have the lost to Oklahoma, and then they're going to be. Do they get in? They only get in undefeated. They can't get into the playoff with one loss because you got Oregon sitting there with one loss. However, they take Alabama out because they beat Alabama. So you got to choose Texas over Alabama. So Alabama's out if Texas keeps going. But I'm looking at the playoff. I didn't understand it. I saw one. It was like Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and Washington. And I'm like, how can Ohio State and Michigan? How can Michigan make it if they lose to Ohio State? They haven't played anybody. You're rewarding them for scheduling crap. So I don't really see that Michigan should be in there if they lose to Ohio. The loser of the Michigan-Ohio State game should be out, and Oregon should be in. Oregon lost at Washington by a field goal because the coach has his head up his ass, and instead of kicking 2 field goals, decided to go for it and not get 4th down. And at the end of the game, instead of punting, he goes for it, and he's going to fuck his team out of the playoffs because he's an idiot. So they should never have lost that game. Bad coaching. Terrible. This is the decisions that happen when you go for it on 4th down. You think it's an automatic. Well, it ain't an automatic against Washington. It ain't an automatic against Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama. You do never go for it on fourth down. You'll never make it. There's no way. You could go for it fourth down on Georgia, and I guarantee you 100% of the time you will not make it. Or Alabama or Ohio State. Look at Notre Dame, Ohio State. Ohio State went twice, didn't make it. Notre Dame went twice, didn't make it. Cost Notre Dame the game by not kicking the field goals. So anyway, that's what you have there. So Texas must win the game. Texas Tech, decent team, a B team, 24 defense. So I think it'll be an under game because I think they got good runners. Texas Tech's got good runners, eats the clock. It's not as wide open. Texas is way up on Kansas State, and Kansas State came back, but Texas Tech's not a Kansas State offense. So I'm kind of leaning Texas also. They must win the game there at home. I think they win pretty good. Penn State, Michigan State. Penn State is 42.5. They're the A team. They give up 12. Michigan State's a W, gives up 27. Penn State, but it's a big number, 20. Over under of 42. We know Penn State's got to. I think you got to go to the Michigan State game and just say it's the same thing. They lost 49-0, and I think you can go over 36. I think Penn State is going to score a lot, and Michigan State will score something. In the last game Friday is Oregon State. Oregon 13.5, 61.5 to Oregon State. And I'm going through this over and over and over, and I'm like, I don't know how you bet against Oregon and that defense. I don't know how you do it. Oregon must win to have any hope with the loss of Washington. They're a monster at home. Oregon State struggled with Washington. They lost at Washington State. They've scored a lot and played a lot of good games. I looked for them against they did beat UCLA like 35-24. So they put up 35 on UCLA, which is good. And this is the only I think they beat Utah. So I think they can score. They're very balanced and a great running. I think it's Martinez, very good runner. Oregon's just so strong. At home, I don't want to bet against Bo Nix in this defense. I just think they're a 16 defense. Oregon State's a 20. I don't. Maybe you play it over, even though it's these defenses, because Washington, they played a 69, and they both had really strong defenses. So there's no way Oregon State's going to stop this offense. Question is, what does Oregon State do? And I don't like Buglia. When it gets down to, I need Buglia to throw me a touchdown, he ain't going to do it against Oregon. I think Oregon at home must win, gets the job done. That's the only hope they got. They're not going to lose this game. If it was at Oregon State, I'd take Oregon State, but not at Oregon. They're so strong at home. And then the Michigan 3.5, 45.5 down from 47 that we started with against Michigan State. 2 A teams, 2-9 defenses. Tease the dog, I think, is the only way you can play the game. As far as over-under, it certainly looks like an under. Ohio State's been struggling offensively. Michigan has not played anybody. When they did play, they put up a whole 24 on Penn State. But Penn State really doesn't have the offense Ohio State does. And I'm not too worried about the under, but I'm really comfortable with Ohio State getting 9.5. Based on the Notre Dame, they did it to Hartman in that defense. Hartman's a lot better than the Michigan quarterback, so that's what I'm looking at. So there you have it. Other key games that I'm looking into: Kansas, Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, Colorado. Prime Junior is doubtful with upper body injury, so it must be ribs. I mean, it's either head or ribs. It's if it was anything else, you would know. If it's normally they say head, normally they say wrist or arm. I think he's out actually. If he's out, Utah, the spread is he's out because they're 21.5. 52.5. And I think if he's out, it's a shutout, and then you just go under with it. West Virginia, Baylor's quarterback's doubtful too. A lot of quarterbacks that are hurt. Iowa State, Kansas State, really good game. Kansas State needs it if Oklahoma loses and Texas loses. Well, no, I think these four, there's two of them that will make the play. So if Oklahoma loses, then Kansas State needs the game and Oklahoma State needs the game. So with that said, so look, that's a tough one because Iowa State with the tough defense. The quarterback's been playing better, but I think Kansas State's a very good team. They'll need the game. We talked to Ohio State, Louisville, Kentucky. I think Louisville here. Pitt and Duke. Riley Leonard's out. Pitt's terrible. I don't know. Here's one for you MAC fans. Northern Illinois over Kent. They're laying 18. Kent's the Z team. No offense. Nothing. They got blown out last week by Ball State, the Z team. Who's the Z team there? Ball State, I think. Where is my other MAC game? But anyway, they got crushed by a Z team. So Northern Illinois, they don't score a lot, but you're laying 18. It's worth a shot against Ken, who's just terrible. Interesting game is SMU 20 over the Navy. The Navy's playing pretty good lately. We wouldn't know about it, but they got a 19 defense and a 19 offense. They might give SMU a little bit of problem. LSU A&M. A&M's quarterback's questionable. Keep an eye on that. We need him to go over in the game. If he doesn't play, it's LSU. If he does play, it's an over. Troy against Southern Miss. Southern Miss's quarterback's out. Wilkie. All they have is Frank Gore Jr. Troy should get healthy this week. UAB North Texas is the over game, but the over-under on this is 74. It's a beautiful over, two overs with 236 defenses. North Texas, we know, lights it up. Hard to go 74 to go over 68, though. Just be careful there. Here's a better one, San Jose State, Vegas. Over is 58. Got to love the over in this game. Vegas, best team in that league. San Jose State can light it up. Both teams have 25 defenses, but it's only a 58 over-under. See, versus the 74 over-under I just told you, you got to get into the 70s to win it. Here, I need 52 points with two very good offenses. Let's see. Western Kentucky's playing Florida International, a Z team. They're an over team. Florida International gives up 31 a game. But you can't bet it. The over is 55, but you got Florida International doesn't score for you. No, Western Kentucky doesn't have much of a defense. You can probably get over in this game. But Western Kentucky might be a better play against the Z team. Same thing with Lou Lafayette, Lou Monroe. Lou Monroe's a Z team. Lou Lafayette played well against Troy. That was the most points Troy gave up, 24 all season. Lou Lafayette's a 12, 52. Lou Monroe's a 33 defense. Lou Lafayette's a 29 defense. So I don't know. It was just a rivalry game. The Lou's going at it. Let's see. Here's another over game. Georgia Southern, App State. Both teams are over. The over-under is 62.5. This should be an over game. App State can just light it up. They played a close game with James Madison last week, but Georgia Southern lights it up also. So we'll see. James Madison off the loss. Gets Coastal Carolina. McCall's out. And they're 8.5. I do like James Madison laying only 2.5 here to Coastal Carolina, who's been playing well, but James Madison's the better team. Vandy, Tennessee, for Tennessee to blow them out. Arizona State. I love Arizona here. Also to blow them out, they've been playing very well. They're actually an A team with the 20 defense. Arizona State's a W with the 29. I think Arizona's good here. Alabama, Jesus Christ. All right. Auburn lost to New Mexico State. We love New Mexico State and Pavia, but now you got Bama. And it's 14 down to 8 is a joke. I mean, Alabama, they're going to kill them. I think Alabama, they have to win. They have to win. Even though they're in it. They've got the loss to Texas. It's beautiful for us. They cannot lose this game because their goal is to playoff. They must win. It's Auburn. It's a rivalry. Might be a little closer, but Milrose has been on. The defense is strong. Auburn played Georgia 27-20. Let's not forget that. But they did just lose to New Mexico State, and Thorne, their quarterback, I think is questionable from Michigan State. BYU Oak State, interesting game. Quarterback Slovis didn't play last week. They played Oklahoma tough, but Gabriel went out at halftime. So what does that mean? Well, we don't know. I mean, if Gabriel plays, does Oklahoma blow him out? So now it gets into your mind, oh, BYU played well. The last 4 games, they played like shit. That's why I took Oklahoma. If Gabriel doesn't get hurt, they probably kill him. But he does get hurt. The backup comes in. So now we're painted with this picture of BYU. Maybe they're not bad. They played Oklahoma good, except for the injury. This is why you can't just – you got to dig into these games. You can't just superficially look at it. Like Washington, Oregon State, it rained the whole game. So did you get – it was 22-20, Washington wins. So you think, oh, well, Oak State's going to play Oklahoma or – Oregon State's going to play Oregon, a close, low-scoring game. Well, if it rains the whole game, if it's sunny out, Washington blows them out. So, again, Oak State, 16.5, 56. The running back, Ali, I don't know. I can't remember. I think let's say Ali Davis, but I don't know. Is Jim Brown. He is strong and he is fast, and he's an excellent runner. They got down again last week. The coach, I don't know. He's got to get his head out of his ass. They fell down to whoever they played last week, and Houston, and then they gave him the ball. And next thing you know, they win by 20, and you're like, well, what are they? Why are they keep getting down by 14 to these teams, and then figuring out to give the ball to Ali, and then he scores 3 touchdowns? You're like, maybe give the guy the ball like in the first half. So they're 10.5. BYU's got a very good runner too. So I would guess this is an over if BYU gets going. Without Slovis, I would think Oak State, this is probably what the kid's last home game. Well, I don't know if he's a senior. I never heard of him until 3 weeks ago. He's the leading rusher in the country, and he's got like 15 touchdowns, so he's perfect. All I know is if I'm an NFL team, I would draft a guy really high because I have to have a running back to win, not a quarterback that runs. I actually need Jim Brown on my team. Then you try to play defense against me. Good fucking luck. Are you going to give the ball to Jim Brown, or am I going to pass? Now it's so obvious. Their idea of running is these stupid wide receiver screen passes is their idea of running. It's 4th and 1. I'll throw it to the wide receiver and let them lose 2 yards. This is their idea of a running game. These offensive and defensive coaches have their heads so far up their ass. None of them knows what they're doing. None of them. They're all a bunch of idiots. It's just the man. I mean, that's why it's so hard to bet pros. And yet I've ran the table the last 3 weeks, but it's very hard to play. That's why it's hard to really lock the games because you're not sure. Again, it's stoic. You want to get consistency. You want to know what you're getting, and you're really not getting it. Anyway, Washington State, 16.5, 67.5. I think Washington buries them at home. Senior day, they have to win the Pac-12 to get into the playoff. Washington State hasn't shown up against Arizona. It'll be a rivalry, but their 29 defense, Penix is going to light them up. Maybe you go over at 67-61. I thought about that too. Florida State, Florida, both quarterbacks are out. Say goodbye to Travis. He's done. And Mertz broke his collarbone against Missouri. So you got, I don't know what you got. Florida State, I saw the backup, okay. 17 defense. Florida, an over team with a 28 defense, but Florida State can't attack it. Spread 6.5, 49.5. I think you got to go under because you got both starting quarterbacks out. It's got to affect the score. They're not going to score like they had the starters. Notre Dame, Stanford, Notre Dame 26-51. Stanford, they're really inconsistent. Sometimes they beat Washington State 10-7, and then Cal killed them last week. Notre Dame, I don't know. They played really well last week. They're at Stanford. Hartman, if they let the offensive coordinator let them, so they kill Wake Forest. So that's in your mind, right? Oh, are they going to put up a 50 on Wake or on Stanford? They should. You're laying a lot of points, 20.5 at Stanford. Over under 51. Maybe I go over or under. Well, you got a 36 defense in Stanford, and you got a 16 defense in Notre Dame, which means Stanford's probably not going to do a lot, which drives you back to Notre Dame minus 20. Good luck on that one. Georgia Tech. In a rare thing, I think I'm going to take the game over. Georgia 24-60. Georgia Tech is an over team with a 30 defense, and they played like Clemson. They lost 42-21. So I'm using that as my base. Georgia has been scoring 50 points on Kentucky. Tennessee, with a strong defense, they win 38-10 or something like that. With Georgia's offense looking the way it does, and they got Brock Bowers back, I can see them easily putting up 50 points in this game because Georgia Tech has a 30 defense. Georgia's going to score. I think Georgia Tech can get 14. So I can lay 18, but I think the over at 54 with Georgia Tech is a much better bet there. Clemson, South Carolina. Clemson 7.5, 57.5. I like Clemson there. South Carolina, they don't really show me much. Rattler, I don't know. Clemson, they lost to Duke, good defensive team. They lost to Florida State, good defensive team. South Carolina is not a good defensive team. They were 27. So I think Clemson laying 1. It's a rivalry. It's at South Carolina. But I think Clemson, I don't know. North Carolina, 2.5 over North Carolina State, a 26 defense against 20. I think North Carolina 3.5 looks good here. Over under, it's hard because NC State plays a strong under game. They don't score a lot, and they have a 20 defense. North Carolina scores. They have a very good running back. So I think they do that. I think with the running back getting 3.5, I think they'll be okay. So that's when you look at the quarterback and you go, God, he hasn't, like Riley Leonard, he's only thrown 3 touchdown passes, but then you realize they run in all the touchdowns. So it makes the quarterback stats look a little bit funny, but they're running it in. Cal, UCLA, the game I was talking about, Cal's 9.5, 52.5. And I'm like, is Cal going to score on UCLA's defense? Which is ironic because UCLA never has a good defense except for this year. The defense held USC to 20, so it's 38-20. But they, so scoring 38 on USC is not much to brag about. The fact USC got 20 on them, Cal's a different team. They are very smart offense, good running. Quarterback's very good. They run smart play. They remind me a lot of Kansas where they get the guys open and they're all over the place. So I 46.5, I think is doable because I think UCLA will put up 30. Cal is up 35 a game. I think so. It makes it hard to take Cal in 15, but maybe or maybe over 46, because I think UCLA is going to be in the 30s, and that'll leave Cal. We need 14 points, is 49, which I think we'll get. Cal, I had them over against Oregon, and they scored 19. And that's kind of my model for Oregon State, is looking at, they really shut down Cal. They'll probably shut down Oregon State. And then I see this, where UCLA probably gets in the 30s, and I think Cal's going to score 20. I mean, I just see this as not a high-scoring game because UCLA's defense is so good, but something where it's only a 46, which is very low. And that's it. Fresno State, San Diego State. Mikey Keene is playing. They should handle San Diego State, and then Colorado State, Hawaii is our midnight game. Good luck on that one. Colorado State over. I don't like their quarterback. They give up 30. I like their quarterback, but they don't score much, and they give up 33. Over under a 54. Probably an over game just because, but I'm not interested there. So that's college. So again, today, Detroit or the over. I don't know what you do with Dallas at 13.5. Now you're fucked. And then I think San Francisco, and then the Miami under tomorrow. Let's refresh one more time and see what we got. Detroit 8.5, 46.5. Ooh, this over is going down because Adam Jones is out. Let's see if there's another injury. I'm not sure why anybody would bet this game under. All right, so Detroit and Green Bay. Looking at the injuries. So it would have to be an offensive player, and the only one I can think of, they're all Adam Jones is out, which we know, and so I don't see this game as an under game. This is not an under game. This is an over game. So again, this is the algorithm people going, well, I calculated Adam Jones being out, and it's going to hurt them. Dallas 13.5, 47.5, hasn't moved, and Frisco 7, 43.5, hasn't moved. So I think you can go with the Niners and Detroit. Detroit over is a play. Dallas 13.5. It's a lot of wood. It's gone from 9.5 to 13.5. I got it from 10. So my line was 10. Well, let's check Washington. Is somebody injured on their team? I know CeeDee Lamb is playing. Oh, I'm checking injuries. So Washington. Samuel, the wide receivers, probable out. Cornerbacks out. Tackles out. Defensive ends out. There's really not the injury. I believe it's, CeeDee Lamb's playing, which, okay, but I think it's more that they lost to the Giants 31. What was the score? 31 to what? 31. 31-19, you lose to the Giants. And I really think that's people have the memory of a flea where they just can only remember 5 minutes ago. So they look at last week and they see what happened and they go, oh, that's what's going to happen this week. I'm betting on them. That's the biggest problem with bettors. They can't see the woods from the forest, the trees from the forest. So, that's why you make your own line. Dallas -10 is the line. This 13, it's too big. You can't, yeah, I mean, you can cut it. I think it'll be Dallas. I think they win by a lot. It's just when you lay the points, it's hard to lay 7.5 because, just because I think it's 34-3 doesn't mean it's going to be 34-3. Washington could put up a struggle. Dallas must win the game, though, because they're a couple games behind Philly. They're comfortably in the wild card seat, but this is a game they have to win against Washington. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving. Yeah, Washington plays them good. Yeah, but that was with George Allen in the 70s. Clint Stout, yeah, you want to go back there, but guess what? They're not the players. George Allen's not coaching Washington now, unfortunately, and Vince Lombardi's not coaching Washington. Give Washington credit. They had Vince Lombardi coach, and then George Allen came in when he died, so that was pretty good. The Lions wish they had a coach half as good as any of those guys. So that's what you got. Frisco's defense, Detroit, it's Love. They're going against Love. So I'm looking, and Dallas is going against Howell is all I can come up with. So looking at that. So that's what we got today. Again, I wanted to show you this article. Let's just finish it up on gold. The article says, is it time to buy gold? Summary of monies, is it a good time to buy gold? Gold is historically a safe and stable investment, can protect you in times of economic and geographical uncertainty. Its price holds up well during times of high inflation and high interest rates, and sees increased demand and price appreciation during traditional equity bear markets rather than bull markets. Like all assets, the price of the precious metal and its demand ebb and flow depend on numerous circumstances. If you're determined that now is the right time, read our guide on how to invest in gold. These people do not listen to. These guys are total fucking idiots. And they're telling you this is money. I guess they're trying to sell gold. So I'm going to contact them and say, I'm not logging in. I'm not going to join this. Yeah, they're too chicken to have an email. So anyway, that's my point with these guys. They're not, they don't inform you. They don't teach you. As I was watching the Bobby Knight one yesterday, what did Bobby Knight say? He says, well, a coach is a teacher. So I'm your coach, but I'm your teacher. And it's basically the same thing. You're just teaching them how to play properly. And they asked Bobby if he could coach pros. And he said, sure. I mean, as long as they're willing to learn, he says, the problem is trying to coach somebody who's Mr. Know-it-all. He knows everything. And that's hard to teach gold to people like that, or football. They know everything. Like our friend in Canada, he knows everything. He can't be taught. He's too childish to be taught. He knows everything. He knows everything about gold and housing and economics in Canada. He can't be taught because he doesn't want to learn and he doesn't understand. He doesn't know anything. This is the problem. So with that said, that's really the problem. So we got another half hour. light class today. I assume people are sleeping in and getting ready for Thanksgiving, but I did want to do the football games in front of it. So gold has gone 2,000 an ounce on Comex, which is interesting. That's what we watch to see when Comex blows up, because when Comex starts losing value and then you see 2,200 on Comex, the real price is about 21,000. Just add a zero to whatever Comex is. And that's probably what it is. So with that intact, you want to go with that. You want to understand it's going. So keep that in mind. Look at your bets again. I don't want you to bet because it's Thanksgiving and the football game's on. You want to have some excitement. If you do, I'm saying, okay, Detroit or the over, Frisco, maybe the under, but I think Frisco is safer. And then Dallas, I don't know what you do with Dallas. It's probably a game you don't want to, if you want to bet on it because you want the action, it's Thanksgiving, just bet a very small amount. Take Dallas, but you're laying 7.5. So it's a real tough one. You got the KC under, that's our free pick, and Ohio State is our free pick. And I'm about to load up on college today. It's only Thursday, so normally I would start putting my picks in for college, which is usually Saturday. And then we got a lot of games tomorrow. So I got to look, is Gabriel playing for Oklahoma, UTSA, Missouri, Texas, Oregon State? I got to figure out. I don't know how you really go against Oregon in this game, or do I go over? But Oregon certainly lights it up. I give Oregon 50 points in this game, and I need 56. I know Oregon State should score a little, but I'm not betting on Uglia Buglia to do anything. They got a good running back, but this Oregon defense has been incredible. So anyway, then we got Ohio State Saturday and the games I just went over. So I'll start loading those up, looking at the injuries. So, like in Troy Southern Miss, the quarterback of Southern Miss is out, which makes me like Troy even more. But I mean, Southern Miss is a 35 defense. I look for Troy to put up a big number. That's why I played them last week, right? See, you've got to be able to. I played them last week and they lost. Should I play them this week? They're playing Southern Miss, who's a W team, and that's really the key to it. You've got to look independently. It's like poker. I get pocket aces, and I play the next hand. I get 9-10 of diamonds. Do I play it? They're all independent. Now, you do get on streaks, and I agree with that. But, pocket aces, let's say I lost with pocket aces. Then I get them again. Do I not play them? I mean, you got to play pocket aces. You just got to be careful with them. So that's what we're looking at here, what to do with some of these games. And, again, I'll list out the 20 I like and try to reduce it. It's funny. When I first looked at it, I go, geez, I don't really see too much out here except for Ohio State game. Then as I start digging into it, I go, oh, yeah, I like James Madison and Arizona and Oregon and Washington, Oak State. And then you get where you start liking a lot of these games and you go, oh, okay. So that's kind of where we're at. So we'll have a ton. I've got one lock going so far. I'll probably have another one or two locks going for that. Again, half hour for the Detroit game. So I'll wrap it up another 15, 20 minutes. So I'm going to watch two, and it seems like you guys are busy with Thanksgiving and you're going to watch the football game. So that's fine. It's a holiday. Enjoy. I'm enjoying. We will see. Anyway, So what else? We talked about stoic. It's really what you're looking for, characteristics in people. Um, I'm getting tired of these girls trying to scam me. Oh, send me money. All right, Skype me and I can see it's you. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, then fuck off. One, she wants a Bitcoin. Well, I don't do Bitcoin, as you know. I do gold. I don't just have money sitting around. My money I have is I need it in case it takes a while for gold to go up or for my vacations. One girl said, "Oh, it's like, let's just send me some money, and I'll send you $100." And she says, that's how much you love me, and I crack up like, I don't even know that you're a girl. I don't know who you are, and money, after being stoic, doesn't mean anything about love. So if I give you $1,000, I love you more than if I give you 100. How about if I don't give you anything? So I laugh at these arguments, and I'm like, look, you want to meet me? Come to Detroit. I'll fly to you. We'll meet. I want to meet Jenna and Daria. I fly to Europe and meet them. I do not pay them to meet, although I do take care of the hotel and the food and shopping and whatever we do. I do pay for everything, but I don't pay them to meet because what's the point? You don't know if it's real or not because you're paying them to meet. So I never pay a girlfriend to meet. That's ridiculous. But anyway, so I'm waiting to do that. There might be a travel visa needed to go to Europe in 2024. I thought I read online it's like $5 just to get it. I don't know what the fuck that's about. What's wrong with my passport? Then I'm hearing that the war in the Ukraine is basically over. Russia won, but there's nobody in the U.S. to declare terms. So in other words, when the war ends, okay, what did Russia win? Which is really what the question's been about the whole time of this war. What is the point of this war? There is no point of the war. Russia's fighting Ukraine to get some of their land that they think is theirs back, that they already had. They do not really want to destroy the Ukraine, and they don't want to go into the rest of Europe because they don't want to. They just want to be Russia, and they just want like Eastern Ukraine. They don't want Western Ukraine. So they're like done, and they're like, okay, but who do they negotiate with? Zelensky's a bigger crook than Putin, and the White House is absent. So there's nobody there to say, okay, let's end this war. They don't want to end the war because the defense contractors want the war to continue. It's a whole mind fuck. Like, so Russia's sitting there. We don't even want to be at war. It's expensive, and we don't want to kill our own people, which is basically how they look at Eastern Ukraine as Russians. So we're not going to fire on Russians, which is why they're not. And so I don't know what's going on. All I know is I can't fly to Russia or Ukraine, and none of the airports are open, and it kind of sucks. So I don't know what the fuck's going on, but the defense contractors are happy because they're selling their weapons. Like, so let's have a war and all these people die so you can make some money that's going to be worthless in 6 months anyway. So it just seems stupid. So anyway, it seems over. It seems like Russia's won, and hopefully soon, so I can, I prefer to meet in Russia than go to Turkey, but if I have to, I have to. Whatever. What else? So stoic is certain personalities. So you shouldn't be bullied by anybody. You shouldn't don't let anybody kiss your ass. Oh, you're so good, you're so good, you're so good. That's not stoic. Stoic is you're the man, you're confident, you do the right thing, which is, like I said, why I get upset at work or with certain people. That's why I don't like the Philly the Philly Madoff, because it's illegal. That's a rugby play. This is football. You can say it's legal. It isn't. It's illegal to push the running back, period. That's the game of football that I grew up watching, right? Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, nobody pushed them. If they got there, they got there by themselves. That's the point of the game. It's like baseball, putting the guy on second base in the 10th inning is bullshit. The guy's got to hit to get on. You can't just give him second base. So those are the stoic things of what's right and wrong and what should happen, what shouldn't happen. And that's why I'm very careful. Like, again, with the girls, if I haven't met you, I'm not, why would I give you money? I don't know who I'm giving it to. I don't know who you are. Jenna, I've met. Daria, I see online, and she sends me videos and pictures. She can send me pictures and videos, but these other girls can't. Well, fuck you then. I don't need you. I've got my girls. So you have no power over me. See, they think they have power over me, and they don't. It's no. Because I'm stoic, you don't have power over me. You're supposed to just like love yourself and have yourself to do everything, and everything else is outside. Now you let in people and you love them, but people with the same traits and thoughts as you. You don't sit there just because the girl's pretty that, oh, buy me dinner. Oh, fuck you. I'm not going to buy you dinner if I don't like you, or just because you tell me I'm going to do it because I want to, if it's the right thing. So when I help Daria with her teeth or Jenna with her windows, it's because I want to, and it's the right thing to do. They're my girlfriends, so that's okay. But if they just send me money, no, that's not what's going to happen. So that's why you got to be strong. So stoic is being strong, not let people manipulate or control you. And the hardest part's at work. You really need to own your own business as a stoic, because it's very hard to work for somebody else, because they'll start fucking around with you. Like at Toyota, I had my hand in my pocket because it was cold out. So I'm walking outside, my hand, it's cold. And the guy manager pulls my hand out of my pocket. I was ready to kill him. Well, I'm stoic. I'm cold with my hands in my pocket. Tell me what's wrong with that. Oh, I'm too stupid to walk with my hand in my pocket. What do you think? I'm 3 years old. So as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, I'm out of here. And, I did my work, but I didn't care. I was looking for work as soon as that happened. I think I got through November. By January, I was looking for work. I had a terrible manager. The other people were not stoics. They did like I was from up north, and I had a master's. I was smarter than them. So they really didn't get me, and really didn't like me, and I didn't like them. And it was never, ever do that. I highly advise against relocating, especially if you're trapped. If they say relocate and we'll pay for it, but then if you leave, you got to pay us back, and they're not going to gross it up. And see, that's the trap. You're stuck there for 2 years, or you have to pay it back. As soon as you hear that, it's like a golden handcuff in a marriage where the woman marries the man because he's got money. I'll give you the money, but you got to stay with me for 2 or 3 years. And then she doesn't like him. What does she do? Oh, I got the money. I can't leave because of the money. Anytime you're in that situation, don't get yourself into that situation. That's the problem. So be careful with that. Otherwise, think it out. So I had to go to Alabama, which I'd never been. And I don't like Alabama. I watch my cousin Vinny, and they'll say it's Bama and all the crap, and I laugh at it. I go, I would never live there. And then I moved to Toyota, figuring I worked at GM and Ford, it wouldn't be bad, but it was the management sucked, HR sucked. I hate HR asked me a question. The guy yells at me, the treasurer, in a meeting, and I'm like, you're out of line. I'm telling, and he's shocked that I'm responding to him, and my boss is just sitting there like an idiot, and a horrible boss. And the guy keeps yelling at me, and I go, you're out of line. Stop yelling at me. I'm a professional. I got a master's. I'm an adult. What are you yelling at me for? And then he says, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I doing here?" They can't ask a direct question. They go, "What are you doing here?" "I'm working." I don't know what you're talking about. What's your question? And he's lucky I didn't just walk out then. I would have. See, had I been in not relocated, I would have. So instead, I just didn't do a whole lot of work, and they let me go. And I guess great. I got a severance. I didn't have to pay the reloc back. It was a perfect. My plan worked exactly as I planned it. And I looked at it when I left. I met with HR, and I just looked at them like, "What is the problem here? Why do you let the Japanese walk all over you? What are you guys doing here? This is the stupidest environment I've ever seen." So you don't want to get trapped in that. That was not a stoic. They didn't treat me the way I should have been treated. They didn't respect me. That's all stoic, although I'm just learning that now. I kind of knew it. It's like it's like the golden rule. You treat people the way you want to be treated. That's the whole point of it. So that's what stoic is. You're strong. You don't take bullshit. I'm at the point when I see people in the pool now or in the hot tub, I don't even say hi to them unless I know them. There's some people I say hi and I start talking gold, and then they start ignoring me, and I'm like, well, fuck you. So now I don't even. They say hi, I just ignore. I go, you're not getting a hi out of me. I try to help you with gold. See, they don't understand you're helping them because they're not stoic. They're idiots. So why do I want to say hello to them? It's a waste of time. These people aren't worthy of your time. Your time is very valuable. The people you're around must see you're an asset and understand that. That's the key to it. It's, geez, I need Howard in my life. I need him. I understand how important he is in my life. That's who you're really striving for with your friends and family, your girlfriends. That's the key is they can't take you for granted. They have to understand you're an asset. That's my ex-wife never understood that, nor do my kids who it's Thanksgiving. I'm not going to get a call from them. So I don't play that game. The kids want to treat me disrespectfully. I don't talk to them. Yeah, it ain't a Disney movie and I don't care. Oh, I'm the father. Well, then they should treat me with the love and respect that I deserve for being the father. They don't, so they don't get my love and respect. That's the point, and I don't care. That's fine. That's what they want. That's what they get. I'm not going to kiss their ass. I don't kiss anybody's ass. That's what makes me the professor is I don't take the shit. That's how I can pick football. So if you guys come on and say, I like this team, I like Ohio State. You come on and say you like Michigan. And that's happened before, or I'll get some guys coming on saying, I like this team. And I want to argue with me. And I'm like, okay. And you won't see their name on here anymore because I don't have time for that. That's not what the point is. I don't care that you pick the games. That's not the point. We don't want to see your picks. We want to understand how to pick a game. It's teaching you how to fish. So if I'm teaching you how to fish and then somebody comes on and says, well, I caught a blue marlin. Oh, okay, Kent, we don't care that you caught a blue marlin. Maybe you tell us how you caught the blue marlin, you add value. If you want to tell me you're betting Cincinnati, then okay, why? Break it down to teach us how to analyze and pick the game. That's fine. If you just want to say like, oh, I picked this team and they won, we don't care. This is not about you picking a winner and you're saying about, oh, look, I picked this team and that team. I had, whatever. I had Ohio State last week, or Michigan didn't try, or whatever. Michigan tried. They were up 22-3. They tried. Don't tell me they didn't try. They didn't look ahead. They're not that good because they haven't played anybody. You don't know how good they are. You still don't know because they still haven't played. Maryland's not a good team, and Penn State is not that good of a team. They don't have receivers. So they haven't really played in Oregon, a Washington, a Georgia, an Alabama, a Missouri. They haven't played any teams of those calibers. So, we don't know what they are based on this week's schedule they play. And that's the problem. So based on the schedule, Ohio State beat Notre Dame. Michigan hasn't played anybody close to that. We don't know. I don't know. They both beat Penn State. Okay. Not sure what that means. That's it. So, yeah, they're going to run the ball at Ohio State, but this is going to shut them down. It's up to the quarterback to throw. Okay, maybe he does. Ohio State, we'll see. That's why I'm taking the points, because I think Ohio State can play with them. But it's still an unknown. There's no way. Michigan cannot beat Oregon. They couldn't beat Washington. They certainly can't beat Georgia. I doubt they could beat Alabama, maybe because the quarterback's a little weak. They'd have a hard time with Texas. I'm not sure they could beat Oklahoma State with that running back, or Kansas State. And they couldn't win half the Pac-10. They couldn't beat. But we don't know. They don't play them. All we know is they can beat Rutgers and Illinois and Nebraska. That's all we know. So, again, it becomes stoic. It becomes doing the right thing, character. Don't let somebody walk all over you. Don't let a girl, because she's pretty, give me money. You don't give her money just because she's pretty, and you don't let her control you or dominate you or make you feel uncomfortable unless you want that. Then that's okay if that's what you want. But in a normal girlfriend, wife type of scenario, that's not what you want. You don't let your kids walk all over you either. Oh, but they love me. Well, yeah, but that's not, you love yourself and you're happy with yourself, and then you look outward, and then you like similar people, and your kids should treat you with respect. I think it's a lot of it's respect and courage and intelligence. Who you are, that's who you want to hang out with, and that'll attract people when they see how confident you are. The people like that. Oh, he's strong. That's good. Oh, that's what I mean, who likes goofy losers? I mean, everybody likes the strong, confident, mature person. So that's what you show, and you're not doing an act. That's just who you are. You're comfortable, you're strong, you're stoic. And that's the other part that watching some of those, and I'm like, yeah, but it's pretty much how I've been anyway. I mean, I got it from football. Once I make my pick, you're not talking me out of it. I've been like that my whole life. Even my dad wouldn't listen to me. And, like I told that story where the Michael Irvin game against Oklahoma, and I had Miami as a home dog, and they win. And my dad's wife goes, well, why didn't we bet on Miami? And I had to laugh. I gave you the game, and you bet against me, and you lose. When are you going to realize I know what the fuck I'm doing? But I wouldn't switch to Oklahoma because he bet it. If anything, I'm trying to get him onto Miami, and then people don't believe, because it's so hard for them to pick. They don't believe I can pick. Because gold doesn't go up, they don't believe gold goes up. They don't understand paper gold from physical gold. So people are like looking, and because X doesn't happen, then Y won't. Well, yeah, but now we got BRICS, and we got Russia going to a gold standard, and we got Russia selling oil for gold, and we've got the U.S. with this huge debt and it's very high inflation. That's why you go into gold, because the variables have changed, and you got to understand the variables. That's the critical part. So they'll say, well, this is what happens. Well, gold never goes up. Why would I buy gold? Okay, don't buy it. So when you tell them to buy it, they don't want to listen to you. Well, I've seen it hasn't done anything. Has there been BRICS before? No. The other countries are going on a gold standard. They want the gold price to go up. Oh, do you realize there's paper gold? Oh, do you realize that's blowing up? No. So there's been things going on that you really don't know, and therefore you don't understand, but you see the result. Gold sitting at 1,500, 1,600. Now it's at 2,000, and it just passed 2,000. And you'll see it. But do you understand it? Oh, it's supply and demand. Oh, really? You think it's supply and demand when they print 1 million ounces of derivatives to short the gold price to keep it down? You think that's supply and demand? Or there's a board of bankers who control it. Why is there a board of bankers? Because they want the price down. Why are they controlling the price? Why isn't the market like every other commodity? And that's really what it is. So understand that it's blowing up and now everything's going to be different. Now I can buy gold. But they don't understand that. They don't understand the game. And that's the thing. So everything's a game. Girls, poker, gold, football. It's all a game. Understand the rules, understand the variables. That's the key to it. So if you understand that, then you can understand changes, right? So Florida State plays Florida, as Alex is pointing out. And what happens is Florida State loses its quarterback. So are you going to look at Florida State the whole year? They put up 35 points a game, but their quarterback's out. Variable has changed, right? Travis is no longer. He probably will never play again. They got the backup in. That's gold. That's women. That's everything. A variable has changed. You like this girl, but she's married now. She's divorced. The variable changed. Gold's paper gold now. It's going to physical. Everybody's buying it. The demand's huge. The price isn't showing it. Inflation's huge. The price isn't showing it. It's just a matter of time till the price shows it. And that's really the key to it. So with that said, that's the game that you got to understand. So you got to understand that Travis is out for Florida State. Then everything else makes, something changed. They're not the same team. Oklahoma, Gabriel got hurt last week. Is he playing? Well, I guarantee he's playing because they have to win the game. So these injuries do take a role. Colorado, now Sanders is out. He probably won't play. They don't need the game. They're going to get killed by Utah anyway. Then you got like Kansas State needs the game against Iowa State. So you take a look at it. That's 9.5. Okay, I can live laying 3 to Iowa State. BYU quarterback's probably out. Coastal Carolina, McCall's out. So you look at, why do we look at the injuries? Because it changes the variables. It changes what you've been looking at. You must understand the rules of the game. And then when something changes, then how is that going to affect the outcome? So gold's sitting there and, it's 35 an ounce. Then you had all this inflation in the 70s and it went up to 800 an ounce. Then it went back to 200 an ounce because it's controlled by the paper and no demand and, we don't need it. And then you have a bunch of fiat currency people since 2000 and probably since 1990, where they're printing the dollars, but it doesn't really, nobody understands it. Now you've got big hitters coming in, printing and printing and printing all their money, and it's all worthless. All the fiat money in the world's worthless. It's just paper. And so the variables have changed. Gold's now 2,000 an ounce. Well, wait a minute. It was 35. Oh, wait, it was 200. I bought this in 95. It was $200 an ounce, 250 maybe per ounce of gold at that point. Now it's up to 2,000. Well, why? Well, because the dollar's worthless. The dollar's lost its value. So really the $2,000 gold is still really the $35 an ounce gold, as Alligator and Mark McGuire will tell you. Well, it's still $35 for the ounce of gold. That hasn't changed. It's the value of the dollars. It now takes $2,000 to buy it, which I understand to a point, but the 2,000 is not the true price because of the price of submission, where they're keeping the price down. Oh, you mean paper gold? Oh, so that's really not supply and demand. No. Now that's blowing up. So now the game has changed. The variables has changed. There's the injury. Paper gold's going away because you have to have physical now to do the paper gold derivative. Well, there's only so much gold out there, and there's not that much, and it's blowing up. And the Russians and Chinese, every chance they get when you do a derivative, at 2,000 an ounce, they're buying it all and they want the physical. Well, they already own 100,000 tons of it. There's not a whole lot left. There's 240,000 tons, of which the other central banks in Europe and Asia are buying as quick as they can. My few ounces isn't going to matter. If I buy 5 ounces, it's not going to move the needle. But they're buying tons, so there's not that much left. And now what changes? Oh, inflation. Oh, the dollar's worthless. Oh, shit. But the dollar's worthless. How does that affect gold? Well, it's money. The whole key to gold is it's money, and it's an asset. Just like the Montana, just like this card here. This card is an asset, but it's a asset going up in value because it's Mahomes, right? So it's a asset going up, but it's an asset. Gold is an asset and it's money and it's going up in value because the way the market works is supply and demand, real supply demand. So if I have this card, I'm going to sell it. Who wants to buy it? Do I have demand for this card? And if the answer is yes, which I'm sure it is because it's Mahomes. If this was Bob Mahomes instead of Pat Mahomes, there probably wouldn't be any demand. It would not have a value. But because it's Patrick Mahomes, it has demand, which gives it value. Well, gold is the only real money in the world. As all these idiots print the dollars to death because they don't understand that they think they can just keep printing. I'll just go out to the money tree and I'll print another $1 billion and put it in my pocket. What's the difference? Because once you keep printing it then the supply is inflated and the value goes down the more you have. That's why this card's numbered out of 50 and this card's not. That's why this card probably has a $5,000 value and this card, ungraded, Bobby, probably has a $2 value or a $1 value. There's no demand for Bobby except for with Bobby and his family, and there's huge demand for Mahomes. So because this is overprinted and it doesn't say 50 on it, it's going to have a value of $2 because there's too much of a supply of it and not enough demand. There needs to be more people wanting it than there are. That's what makes the price go up. In gold, it's getting there. The central banks realize what's happening, that the dollar, because their bankers realize the dollars are going to zero. They got to protect themselves. The public doesn't realize it, except for our class here, that the dollar's gone and you need gold to protect yourself. And by the way, gold's going to go to the moon because once everybody realizes that all the dollars are worthless, the only answer is gold. And so you go into gold because you must protect yourself. Plus, you're going to make a lot of money because the value is going to go up. So it's a double hit. But once everybody realizes it, then the demand goes through the roof. The supply is the supply. They can't make any more gold, which is why they say there's zero party risk, meaning that they can't print it. The government, see, the risk of this is the government printing it, right? Oh, they're going to print more and more and more of it. That's the risk that it goes to zero. In gold, there is no risk because they can't print it. It's what comes out of the ground is it. They mint it, and that's all that's all that is. You can't print the supply to zero. That's the problem. So with that understood, as more people start to realize the demand for gold will go up and up and up. Right now, they're trying to say, oh, you can buy an ETF, you can buy stocks. You don't need the physical. Bullshit. You're fucked in the ETF or the stock. You're not, it's not, the ETF, there is no gold. You don't own anything. So that's going to zero. You're fucked there. And then the stocks, you'd be okay with gold, but because the price of gold, because the stock market's going to crash, the stocks are going to drop, which will then lead you. Then you can buy the gold stocks afterwards. But if you just own the coins, it's going to go up. And you can't lose with the coins. They can't print it. The ETFs are a Ponzi scheme. There is no gold in it. So if you try to get your gold's now 50,000 an ounce. You go to the Ponzi scheme owner, Sprott, and say, I want my gold. And they'll say, we don't have it because it's a Ponzi scheme. There is no gold in the ETF. So you're fucked. It's just, they're kind of taking I think the concept is to try to take the price. And I don't know how they connect the dots to the price because it doesn't make any sense. I think they're trying to say, well, we have gold and you own a part of it, but so does another 1,000 people own the same ounce of gold, which means you're not getting it. It's a Ponzi scheme. Stay away from ETFs. You don't really want to be in paper. You want to be in physical. Buy the coins. Prophet. Hey, Prophet. Well, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Go ahead, Prophet. What's your teaser? But if you've been listening, you'd probably hear most of the games. All right, as we wait for Prophet to give me his teaser. So really, that's what's happening is people don't understand the game. So that's why I tell you, you've got to understand women and what their games are. You've got to understand. And it's mostly you're nice to them. They feel safe and secure with you. Yeah, they like guys with money, but it's not the be all end all, just so you can take care of them. It's got nothing to do with really your looks or other features. It's really how do you treat them? Are you honest? Can they trust you and rely on you as you would stoic with anything? And that's really what the games that the women's play are. Are you stoic? Are you, this one girl, oh, I've been stood up before. Well, I'm not going to stand you up. Do you want to go through your life worrying about if people are going to stand you up? Well, maybe if you talked to me or you watched our class, you would know that would never happen. That's why I think you're scamming me. You're just asking for money to prove that. So in case I get stand up, what if you stand me up? I don't know you. I've never met you. So there's no way in hell I'm giving you any money. We'll see. But I don't have that with Jenna and Daria. It's a different thing. Green Bay plus 22.5. Washington plus 26.5. 26.5. Where are you getting that number? Seattle plus 20. Mississippi State plus 22. I can give you a whole lot of better games, but I don't know. I don't really like it. I'm not going to get into the detail. I'd be afraid of. Very small, I guess. I mean, it's a lot of points in the NFL. I'd probably take the Niners over Seattle because they could lose by 20 with that defense. But Mississippi, is their quarterback out, Dart? That should be good. Green Bay should be good. Washington, I don't trust Thurston Howell III, but with 26 points. So, yeah, I mean, very small, just to have fun on Thanksgiving. I could see that. Yeah, enjoy. Good luck. I don't know what to tell you. Free picks, Ohio State and Kansas City under. So I would think like that. But, yeah, go enjoy. Bet small. Don't bet a lot. Happy Thanksgiving. Eat your turkey. Getting 20 points in the pros is probably always a good bet, I think. Again, I'm thinking in terms of 6 points, what I did, but yeah, 20 points. And that's it. But anyway, so with the games, that's the whole thing. Gold, the variables changed. We've now gone to bricks. We've now gone. COMEX is blowing up because they need physical gold to do their little fancy derivative bullshit. It's all illegal but it's all corrupt. So we understand that game. The best part of the government of the printing money and going to zero is the government blows up, because without money you don't have a government. But they'll come out with the new money. I assume that's what they're talking about. But these guys are so stupid. I don't think they have a clue what's going on. I think they can just think they're just going to keep printing. So what we understand is the big key is you can't keep printing dollars with no effect. This is really the point. And you can't have a $35 trillion debt. You have to pay it. It's a debt to other countries. They're not going to just sit there and say, that's okay, don't pay it. I mean, Germany and England and China, you think they're just going to say, no problem, don't pay it. So you owe people because they bought your bonds. That's what the debt is, right? You need money. You make bonds to get the money in, and then I'm going to pay you back down the road with the bond. Like you bought a savings bond for 5 years, and you bought $100 savings bond. I'm going to give you back $120 in 5 years. So you've paid for the bond up front, and they'll pay you back down. So here comes a bond. You owe $35 million, $35 trillion. So I should buy your bond, and you're going to pay me back with the other 35 trillion. Why do I find that very hard to believe? So really the only way out for these countries is to buy gold and raise the gold price to cover the dollar, to cover their debt. And all the countries are in the same boat because they think they can print the money with no recourse, with no issue. And then you have Russia and China sitting there understanding this, going, well, we're going to buy all the gold. That's why China's got 60,000 tons and Russia's got 35,000 tons, because they understand I can't get fucked with gold. I'm buying it very cheap. I just got to wait around for the gold price to go through the roof. And that's it. And that's what we're waiting for. When the gold goes up and the silver goes up, we're retired. We'll go find a beach somewhere. Our ounce of gold will buy a nice $500,000, $600,000 house. Nice car. We'll be able to eat. Everything will be fine because we have gold, and the ounce of gold we'll be fine for 10 years with the ounce of gold for groceries and stuff like that. Or all our silver will take care of all that. So that's what you got to realize. You got to realize it's gold and silver is real money. It's the only real money. Everybody recognizes that there's huge demand, which will make the price go up, and the dollar is being printed. And look at the value of the dollar. It's going down. That's why I show you this, because this isn't worth $1 anymore. It's worth 2 cents. Right? It's worth 2 cents of the dollar it was worth. So you got $100. You got a $100 bill. It's worth $2. That's what it buys you. And how you come up with the value of the money, it's just what it'll buy. What people determine the value. What's $100 worth? Well, it'll buy some cornflakes and some Coca-Cola and a ketchup. Is it worth what it was in 1970? No. I mean, you'd fill your grocery cart 3 times to buy $100 worth of groceries. Now you don't even have it half full, and it's $100. Steak, $10 a pound, $15 a pound. I got lucky for Thanksgiving. I saw some New York strips were $8.99, normally $14.99, and I only bought 2 of them because I bought a roast for today and everything else. So I'm gonna get off soon so I can start cooking it. Takes about an hour to bake, and then I got some ribs, which I might make first. I got my omelet. I got my bread, my banana. So I'm all set. Wise, and pumpkin pie for dessert, just a treat. And I'll try to be like 1 piece today, 1 piece tomorrow, 1 piece Saturday. So I'll try to be a good boy. That's where they get you the sugar. It makes you hungry, although I haven't eaten today. And anyway, so enjoy the holiday. Try to understand things change and think about things. That's stoic, right? So you want to be stoic. It's the best way to be. And you want to think about things. So you want to think and say, well, gold is low. Why is the gold price low? Instead of, what they've got you doing is the gold price is low and you go, oh, well, gold doesn't do anything. There's no demand for it. You don't understand the paper derivatives keeping the price down because the government prints the dollars, doesn't want gold to compete. But you don't understand that. All you see is the gold price doesn't do anything. So therefore, why should I buy it? What does the dollar do? The dollar is going down. At least gold will start going up, but the dollar is down, 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 in which you don't understand. You don't understand the dollar is worthless. And gold has a value, and it's about to have a big value. But even if you didn't understand that, what you got to understand is your alternative is the dollar is worthless. So you're sitting there, you got $300,000 in your bank account, and you think you're set for life. And then all of a sudden the dollar is worthless. Your 300,000 goes to zero. Fuck. Why didn't anybody tell me? I'm trying. You won't listen. That's the point. So I'm running around going, look, the dollar is going out. Put your money in the gold, get your money out of the bank. And you're like, no, I got 300 grand, I'm set. But you don't understand the 300 grand isn't worth 300 grand anymore. You're like, if it's worth 100 grand, and it's going down and down and down because these idiots are printing. And the guys who are in charge don't realize you can't keep printing. If you keep printing, it goes to zero because you can't, the bigger your supply. So again, why is this card numbered out of 50? Why are they keeping the supply low? Because it'll keep its value. Why does this card not have a value? Pardon me, Bobby. Why does this card, here, I'll put Reggie up. All right. Sorry, Bob. So why does this card is worth like $2? It's Reggie Jackson because they printed 1 million of these. Oh, so you mean if you print a lot, it has low value, but if you print a little, it has high value? Yes. 50 of these, the value is high, will stay high. 1 million of these, the value is nothing. What are you doing with this? You're printing this. There's 1 million of them out there. There is no value. They're just paper, and you can't print this because then it's not limited. It's overabundance, and overabundance has no value. That's why you see a sale of oranges or blueberries. When they get a bunch of them in, they got to move them out before they spoil. So there's a ton of them, and they're on sale to move them. And that's what these are. These are on sale to move right now, the dollars. They have no value. They're worthless. And if you hold them, they're going to zero. Oh, come on, Howard. I got 300,000. What do you mean it's going to zero? How can it go to zero? Because you're missing the whole concept is if I keep printing, they don't have a value. They will go to zero. That is the concept. And that's what you don't understand because you didn't take Austrian economics. That's why I teach Austrian economics. The Keynesians believe you can keep printing it and nothing will happen. They're out of their fucking minds. That's total delusion, right? They're living on Mars somewhere with that thought process, but that's why the dollar's going to zero is these morons are printing it. So you can't talk to the morons printing it because they're greedy and they just see the money. Now, there's nothing wrong with greed. You got 100 ounces of gold. You want to get 200 ounces of gold. People call you greedy. Tell them to go fuck themselves. There's nothing wrong with wanting more gold and silver. That's smart. That's not greedy. You don't know how much you need. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's an unknown. That's fine. And even if you have a ton and you want 2 tons, fine. Look at China's got 60,000 tons of it. Are they greedy? No, they're smart because they'll be in charge because they'll have the asset. They'll have the value. And that's what you need. The person with the most gold wins because it's it's worth it, right? It's real value, and that's why the Romans went out, right? They took the gold out and the silver out of their coins, so they had nothing, and the brass they put it with didn't have a value, so no demand, no value. Nobody wants that. They want gold and silver, and then came the Ottomans and the Germans, and they had the gold and they brought in the armies. The Roman armies wouldn't fight without gold. They said, well, we don't have, how are you going to pay us? Oh, well, we don't have any money. Well, why are we going to risk our lives? That's why they lost, because you inflated it, you ruined your economy, you ruined your government, and you ruined your military. That's why the Roman Empire went to shit. That's why the French and the British went to shit. They had the gold. They got rid of it. Why are these people this stupid? We don't have 8,000 tons, but we'll say we will. But okay, let's see it. Well, we won't show it to you. Then you don't have it, because if you had it, you would show us, because it's critical that we know you have it now when the inflation's heavy. So the fact that you aren't showing us means you don't have it. The fact Germany wanted 300 tons of it and you couldn't provide it shows you don't have anything. And from what I understand, the gold that the Germans got wasn't the gold they gave us, because it was Nazi gold. And so it would have had Nazi on it, and it didn't. So they got different gold. Where's my gold? Oh, well, we sold it. So there is no gold. The U.S. had to go buy 300 tons of gold to sell it to the Germans, to give it to the Germans, because it was their gold. So the U.S. is holding all these other countries' gold because they're afraid of Hitler. So in World War II, they said, here, we're going to ship it to the U.S. for safety because it's our gold. We need it. Well, I thought gold's not important. Gold's, why would you send it? Why is Hitler taking everybody's gold? It's not important. Why does Putin have 32,000 tons of gold if it's not important? Yeah, okay, connect the dots. Is it not important? Really? So just do what they do and you're fine. And I'm explaining why. I'm explaining the game to you so you understand. So when you need to explain it to your family and friends why you're buying gold, Bobby and Greg and John and everybody else, they will understand that. And you Bitcoin people, Bitcoin's worthless. Not only that, it's how do you get your value? It's a Ponzi scheme. It's priced in dollars. So when the dollar goes to zero, what's Bitcoin go to? Gold doesn't need the dollar to have value. Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is what? My friend asked me for Bitcoin. I said, I don't know what it is, and I have no interest in it, and stop asking for it. I do not want to talk to people who are into Bitcoin because they have no idea what they're doing. There's no reason to have it, and you'll never convince me, because I understand supply-demand economics, and it has nothing to that. The fact the price went up, so you're just falling for it. You don't know why. Why did the price go up? I don't know. Well, the price is going to go up. It'll be 100,000. Why? Because of the inflation, the dollar will be worthless. Yeah. So it would go down in value if the dollar's worthless, right? Anyway, so that's what's happening. And that's what you need to understand. So you need to explain it. It's if you stay in the dollar, even though you have 300,000 of them, or as Warren Buffett has 2 billion of them, 2 billion of zero is zero. You don't want to be in it. Out of safety, buy gold and buy silver. And if they don't do anything, and we're sitting here 10 years from now and they're still at 2025 for silver, you take it back and you say, give me my money back. And you won't be getting inflated. You'll be getting inflated dollars, so you'll actually lose money on your transaction. Well, maybe not, because your if it's $2,000 today is going to, so if I loan you $2,000 and you pay me back $2,000, I'm only getting about $1,700 back because I'm getting inflated dollars. So be careful with that. So don't think because you have $300,000 you're safe, especially if it's in the bank or in the stock market. You're about to get crushed. It can even get into the bank if the banks will even stay open with these high interest rates that the Fed's causing all these problems, because the bonds that the banks issue are at 1 or 2% or 0.5%. And now I got to renew them at 5%. I'm fucked. I can only go out 1 or 2%. Now I got to pay 5%. I don't have the extra money from the 1.5 to the 2 to the 5. And I probably have a lot at 0%. Now I got to pay 5% on it. I'm fucked. Banks go under. So that's why you got to be very careful. Don't bury your head. Understand what the changes are. Just like there's the injury to Travis and Florida State's fucked. Understand that. Oh, that's what's changed. That's what changed in gold. BRICS, gold-backed currency. The fact in COMEX, you need actual physical gold to do your derivatives where you didn't before. Those are the two major reasons that gold's going to go up. But the fact that the dollar's going out, forget gold. I can't hold my dollar because my dollar's losing value. So my only other option is putting it in a different currency, but they're all paper. They're all worthless. So the only out is gold and silver. That's why you buy it, because you got to get rid of your dollars. The problem is the dollar's collapsing. You've got to get out of your dollars. That's the real problem here. And the quicker you understand that and beat the crowd, the better you are, which is why I use Titanic. We hit the iceberg. We're about to sink. Why are we about to sink? The boat's been traveling for 5 days. Fine. Why would it sink? Well, you hit the iceberg. There's your variable, right? Oh, wait, we hit the iceberg. Oh, the whole boat's flooding. Oh, the boat can't take on water. It'll sink. We got to get off the boat because the variable it hit the iceberg has happened. And then we want to get off the boat now before the frenzy of people all try to get out at the same time. You want to buy gold and silver now before the frenzy of everybody buying gold and silver starts hitting and the price goes up. And it's happening, but they're controlling the price. Again, I don't know why they think that the value of the dollar has no value, but they're too stupid to understand that. They think, oh, we'll just keep printing because the people in charge are fucking idiots. It's just like the San Diego coach. Let's go for it on fourth down. We're at our own 20 with a 4-point lead against Minnesota. What are we doing? Why are we going for it? I don't know, but it's the analytics. Then they don't make it. And it's like, why did you go for it? I don't know, but I did. Why are you printing the money? It doesn't matter. Even if we print it, it won't lose the value. You're like, oh my God, we have an idiot coaching our team. We have an idiot running the money. I'm sorry, if I'm a rich Warren Buffet guy or any of these guys, I got my money in gold and I'm not worried. These guys have their money in money. Or they are, I love it. They're in like Bill Gates. He owns farmland. The fuck does he know about farmland? And by the way, your farmland's going to be worthless because the dollar is going to be worthless. And everything priced in dollars will go to zero until a gold price emerges. How much is Gates's land going to be worth in gold? Who the fuck wants it? There won't be any demand for it. I got gold. I'm not buying Gates's land. I'm buying a house and a boat, and I'm going to live on an island. I'm not buying that. I'll try to buy an island where there's food, but really that's the whole key to it, right? So all your assets go to zero because they're valued in dollars until they get valued in gold. Then they'll have a value again, or mostly silver. Most of the stuff will be valued in silver. And I assume they'll come out with a dime and a quarter and a half dollar silver and a nickel in silver, and then that'll have a huge value. But that's what will happen. They're going to struggle and fight to keep the dollar going because they're all sitting in dollars, and they don't want to lose the dollar because they're all crooks and they printed it all. They don't want to lose it, and that's really what the war is right now. And so I warn you, when you do get the paper money, to get it into gold and silver as soon as possible. Keep enough to pay your bills, and the rest, there's no need for savings. There's no need for money in the bank, just a few thousand to cover bills. Outside of that, get it the fuck out. Anyway, so that's really what's going on. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's go watch some football and eat some turkey. I'll be on tomorrow. I don't know what time are these games start at 1, probably, I guess 10 o'clock again. We got a whole slew of college And we'll have to talk Friday and Saturday college, and pros we've talked about yesterday, so they're pretty much set. But things will change as of today's games. Um, we will see. But anyway, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy your stoic lives. Don't let people vampire you and just blab to you nonsensical stuff, and it drains me because being an INFJ, I get drained, and I need time. I need my relaxing time. I need to take a nap to recharge. So you don't want to listen. I know it's hard now with all the bullshit that goes on at Thanksgiving with the family. I can't talk to my mother and my brother at all. They're who the fuck? What are they talking about? My mom talks about shit, and I'm like, what? What are you talking? Who cares? And then if you hit it with the gold, then they don't want to hear, or God forbid, politics or the war. Oh, they don't want to hear that. So it's a very different thing. All right, Prophet. Yep, I'll be here tomorrow. So let's say 10 o'clock or so, roughly, right around that time frame. And I don't know what it is. Well, let's see. When do these games start? I assume noon. I assume it's noon and 3:30. Let's take a look. Well, pretty much. USC UCLA was last week, was really strange. Cal Stanford was last week. Okay. Yeah, noon. So Miami, Boston College. So it's like a Saturday. So I'll be on it. I'll be on at 10. But we can go to 1 because we got to get all the football in, and then there's a lot to go over. Although with that, we have less to worry about for Saturday. So good luck. Play smart. What you should try to do is play a little bit, and then if you win, play a little bit more tomorrow, and then play a little bit more Saturday, and then play a little bit more Sunday. I do have a lot going. So you want to save money for the lock. What I tend to do is I bet the lock now, and then I know I've got it bet. And what I usually do, like let's say I play the Utah-Colorado game. I like Utah, and Prime Junior's out, and I bet them with Washington, and they lose. They don't cover, but I still like Washington. So what I tend to do is then I'll play Washington with a night game or a pro game. So keep in mind, I'm giving you the teaser. So if the first end loses, that's still the pick. It'll be bet again. So don't be surprised if you see it later or you miss I've entered a pick 2 hours before the game. Don't be surprised if it's there, but you understand you've already got the pick. So if it's Washington, if it's Utah, Washington, Utah loses, I like Washington. I'm going to bet them again. So, the key is, I like Utah, I like Washington. That's the bottom line. All right, everybody, let's go watch some football, eat some turkey, and enjoy the holiday. All right, take care. Great holiday. www.teaserking.com. Should be a big week for us. All right, thank you. Take care.